In this video, you're going to see how to customize a rim with color change film from Rvinyl to create a dynamic look. And what's great about it is you don't need a lot of tools. Rapid prep for cleaning the surface, squeegee with a buffer, application glove, and a knife, as well as a heat gun. Let's get to it. First thing is you want to spray the wheel and clean the outside edge first. Put a squeegee in a microfiber towel and then really dig it inside any gaps. Once the outside edge is fully cleaned, if there's any openings in the rim, get the microfiber towel in there and be extra thorough to remove any little tiny specks, then clean the main face. To provide a little extra long-term hold, a good idea is to put a very thin coat of what's called Primer 94. This is an adhesive promoter, and you're going to focus this on the outside edges. This is primarily because wheels get exposed to a lot of moisture and chemicals, so any exposed edges, be thorough with the Primer 94 and always allow it to dry for at least 5 minutes. And then right before applying the film, go over the entire rim with a heat gun just to make sure there's no moisture left on the surface. Now it's time to wrap. Remove the entire liner because the area is super small and lightly tack it in place, making sure there's enough material top to bottom. Tack it at the top and then lightly tack it at the bottom. Try not to spread the material out too much because you want as much material to relax into the middle part of the rim. So once the outside area is tacked, then squeegee it onto the main flat area, using the squeegee and keeping it low and flat. Now the material is nice and relaxed on the outside area. Run a finger just to make sure it's set up. Now it's time to form the material on the inside. Wet the application glove, add light heat to the inside area, and then form it into any type of recessed area. The wet application glove will allow the material to conform in here nice and easy. Once it's into the recessed area, run a finger and heat one more time to make sure the adhesive is really locked onto the surface, then squeegee it onto the flat area towards another recessed area. Squeegee in nice overlapping strokes, and once everything is on the main surface, run a finger on any open gaps to make sure the material is set up on the edge, and this will be cut out later. This particular rim has a raised object in the middle, and instead of cutting the outside of it, there's actually a natural gap just on the inside, about 1/4 inch. This is where the excess film is cut away, and now the material is picked up and it's going to be formed into the recessed area. This will keep the material from being overstretched. So here the material is picked off the raised object and then fed into the recessed area. This is extremely important for long-term hold. So work in increments, roughly 2 to 3 inches, and do a 360 around the raised object. By picking it off the raised object and allowing it to relax to the main surface, it'll hold for the long term. Run the application around one more time to make sure it's nice and set, and add heat to activate the adhesive. Once the recessed area is done, tuck the material into the base of the raised object, and once everything's tucked with the buffer side of the squeegee, always flip the squeegee around and tuck it in with the hard side so it's nice and deep. Once everything's good, cut the excess film away from the raised object, making sure the angle of the blade is around 10 degrees from the surface. Remove the excess film and then tuck it tightly into the base of the raised object. Now, once the main area is on, it's time for cutting away the excess film. Here the outside edge is cut, and if the blade is sharp and slightly angled in, the cut will be very straight and precise. Once the 360 cut is made, simply just remove the excess film and always take a finger to seal the deal on the outside edge. And for any open gaps inside the rim area, be sure to use a very sharp blade and let it be guided along the edge. If it's parallel to the edge, it'll flow nice and smooth without cutting the rim, and you'll get a very clean, symmetrical cut. Once all the cuts are made, run a finger to make sure it's 100% sealed and repeat the same steps for all shapes and sizes. Once everything's cut out, it's a good idea to come back in with a heat gun to double check that all the edges are down and that all the air is out from underneath the film. If there's any type of recessed areas, add extra heat so the material sticks nice and tight. And here you can see a little bit of air underneath the film, and this is why you always want to do that heat check over. And with that, you repeat the exact same steps for all the rims on the vehicle, which creates really high workflow, and this is how you customize a rim with color change film from Rvinyl.